Hello, and welcome back with Mrs. Struble. Today we're going to be discussing how you solve two-step equations. Okay? In the last couple of videos, we focused on how we would solve one-step equations with rational numbers using any of the four operations or properties of equality. In this one, we're going to focus on, okay, what if there's more to the problem than just one extra value with the variable? Okay? And essentially, there's really only two steps, hence the word two-step equations. So it's actually kind of nice. So we're going to look at this in a step-by-step manner. Our first step is to make sure that we combine any constants in the variable, or in the equation, excuse me. So constants, but we have to know what a constant is. Remember, constants are those single values. So if I say 5/3 and it's all by itself, that's called a constant. -3, okay? These are constants. So any number that stands alone is a constant. The second step is to undo any coefficient that we see. Again, vocabulary word here, coefficient. What does it mean? A coefficient is a value that is being multiplied or divided by a variable. So if I have W over 3, okay? In this example, the 1/3 that's attached to the W, remember there's a hidden 1 here, the 1/3 that's attached to the W here is the coefficient. So this is the same thing as 1/3 W. The number attached to the variable is our coefficient, okay? All right. And that's it. Those are the two steps. Now, obviously, I would recommend adding a third one to make sure you're checking your answer as well, okay? But that's all there is to it. Now let's get down to seeing how these steps work in example form. So here's our first example. -3x plus 5 equals 2, okay? Our first step, remember, is to combine the constants. So I have a constant here and a constant there. I need to combine them on one side of the equal sign, okay? Well, our variable is here, and remember our ultimate goal is to always, our big picture here is to always isolate the variable or get it by itself. I want to know what does x equal. So we are isolating the variable. That is our ultimate goal with any equation. Oops. We're not dealing with multiple variables yet. That gets fun. Okay. All right. In this case, just the one, isolate the variable. Right? Following the two-step process again, we need to then move the 5 to the other side. Well, it's being added to the -3x, so let's just subtract it using the subtraction property of equality. We're not changing the equation, we're rearranging it. There is a difference. We're just making it look different, but it's still the same thing. Okay, equivalent equations. So we have a -3x is left over here, and then 2 minus 5, that's -3. Okay, so that's step 1. Ding, combine the constants. Step 2, undo the coefficient. In this case, the coefficient is -3. It's being multiplied by x, so to undo it, we divide by -3. Those -3's equal, -3 divided by -3 equals 1, and 1 times whatever x is still going to give us with x. Now taking a look over here to the right-hand side, it's -3 divided by -3 again. And what does that equal? 1. Okay, do not say 0. That's a common mistake when we're thinking too fast, okay? All right, so in this case, x equals 1. Doing a quick check means, okay, everywhere I see an x in the original problem, I put 1 and then I solve it. Is the equation true? So substitute this in. Bing! -3 times 1 is -3 plus 5. Yep, that's -2. So we know we're correct. Okay? Let's do another one. Let's make it a little more challenging here. What if we have 8 divided by 8, or excuse me, let's use something other than x. I get tired of the old x. Give him a break. We're going to use g, why not? So g divided by 8 minus 1/2 is going to be equal to -7/2. Okay? Let's see what we get for an answer. First step, combine those constants. Here's a constant and here's a constant. They're rational numbers, yes, but they're all alone. They have no variable for their own. Okay? So, how do I undo this -1/2 and move it to the right? Because the g is over here, we want to move the constants to the opposite direction. We add 1/2, you're correct. Okay, so we're going to add 1/2 to both sides of the equal sign using the addition property of equality. Okay. The 1/2 cancel, b equals 0. So y divided by 8 plus 0 is just y divided by 8, whatever that is. We do not know yet, but we will. So now we have this other side. Woo-hoo-hoo, pen's going crazy. There we go. -7/2 plus 1/2. Okay, they have the common denominator, which is a great start. Now let's look at the numerators. -7 plus 1. Well, that's equal to -6. And the denominator stays the same. We can simplify this. -6 over 2. That's right, -3. Okay? Let me put that negative in front here. Okay. And now we need to undo the coefficient. So the coefficient that's here is actually 1/8. Okay? But we look at this as y divided by 8 because fraction is still the same as division. So to undo that 8, we multiply it. So multiplying both sides by 8, 8 over 8 equals 1. 1 times y is still y. And then we have -3 times 8, -24 on, what day is today? Wednesday. Okay, ask me tomorrow, maybe it'll change. You never know. Haha. All right, and that is two-step equations, solving two-step equations. 1 2-step, you want to go that extra mile, making sure maybe you're not 100% on this. Whoops, I turned my g into the y, didn't I? Let's change that back. Okay, you could always check your answer by substitution. Okay, so we have g equals -24. Let's see if it works out. And we should get -7/2 or -3.5. Okay, so -24 divided by 8, that's -3. Minus 1/2 more, yep, that's -3.5. Check, check. We're done. Okay. All right. Now, not all two-step equations have the coefficient going first. Sometimes we're going to see something a little different. For example, in this one. This is still a two-step equation. The only thing is, the first step in this case is just to combine the terms with the variable. Okay? So in a nutshell, a two-step equation, the first step, you're making sure that what are called like terms are combined. Okay? If they're both constants, we put them together, or we make sure that they're on the same side and combine them. If they have both variables, we have to combine them. So 3y minus 8x, and this is where some of us start overthinking it. Really, you gotta remember what multiplication means. So this means that there are 3 groups of y. Now we don't know what y is. Maybe it's the number of yo-yos that I get versus the number of yo-yos that I break every year. I don't know, okay? All right. So we have 3 y's, and then we have 8. We're going to take away 8 of them. So we have 8 negative y's essentially. Now, when we're putting them together, well, what do we have? What do we see? Well, here's a positive y and a negative y. Remember those 0 pairs? They come back, so that equals 0. Positive y, negative y, positive y, negative y. Okay, all of these cancel out. And what do we have left? We have negative 5 negative y's. Okay, now take a look at the problem. 3y minus 8y. What did we do to get negative 5? And if you said that we just take the coefficients and we subtract them, you're correct. So we have 3 minus 8 to get negative 5, and the y falls behind. So we have negative 5 groups of y. So we lost 5 yo-yos or whatever y stands for, okay? Right? The rest falls down. That's our step 1, is just to combine those two like terms. Ding. Okay. Step 2 does not change. The step 2 is still to take care of the coefficient. Okay. So dealing with the coefficient is negative 5. So negative 5 times y. To undo it, we're going to divide by negative 5. Get 1. So our answer over here is y. And then 25 divided by 5, negative 5, excuse me, is a negative 5. Right? Don't believe me? Substitute and check. Right? And that is two-step equations in a nutshell. Okay? After viewing this video, you can go ahead and continue your work into practicing more with your assignment. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you again next time.